Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming for the closing event. My name is Ji Leong Ko. I'm the founder of the Singapore Literature Festival. Together with my festival co-director, that's my festival co-director, Lily Philpott, at the back. Ever the organizer and the supporter. Together with Lily, I want to welcome everyone to the 6th Biennial Festival. The theme for this year's festival is Living Adaptations, and the festival focuses on the art of adaptation in writing for the stage and screen. We're very, very grateful to the Asian American Writers Workshop, where we are right now, for this beautiful space, for this opportunity to present the second day of the festival. For the festival closing event, we are very pleased to present the stage reading of a new chamber opera called Sisters of the Storm. This is actually written by Marcus Yi, with music composed by Justine F. Chen. And this modern opera reinterprets Shakespeare's King Lear within the context of an Asian American family. The actresses taking the stage this evening are Karen Kawamoto, Sonia Nam, Henry Wu, and Cindy Tsai. And you are?
Hi, I'm Shubhra Prakash. I'll be reading stage directions. Thank you.
Now, after the stage reading, the librettist Marcus Yi will engage in a conversation with the Shakespeare scholar and moderator Cordelia Zukerman, and also with you about this work in progress, because the creators would really love to actually hear from you and be embarking on this very special process by which you are actually going to give your feedback to the creators. Right, without further ado then, over to you.
Sisters of the Storm, a chamber opera composed by Justine F. Chen, libretto by Marcus Yi. Time, place, New York City, fall, the past. Prologue, a dream of the underworld.
I dreamt I died and went to the underworld.
There was a long line of people waiting to cross a bridge.
At the head of the line, there was an old woman.
Some called her Grandmother Dream.
Some called her Meng Po.
Some called her Mother Forgetfulness.
Some called her Lady Meng.
She offered me a cup of tea made from 5 rare herbs.
She said, "Drink this tea, and all your memories, wounds,
And promises
will be washed away.
like leaves in a storm. Like leaves in a storm.
Like leaves in a storm."
Like leaves in a storm.
I stared at the cup and froze.
Because
I never got the chance to show my family who I really was.
I never got to ask my mother, why was I never good enough for you?
I never got to live a life that was truly just for me.
I never got to tell my daughters, I love you, I'm sorry.
I never got a chance to life that was truly just for me. And if I can't remember what happened before, how do I stop making the same mistakes in my next life?
I heard women,
Are twice as likely to be affected
and those with a parent,
or sibling affected are at even higher risk.
will I drink the tea like my mother? Like my mother?
Like my mother,
like my mother.
Will I drink the tea like my sister? Like my sister?
like my sister,
Like my sister.
can I heal these wounds
Can I fulfill these promises?
Before everything is washed away.
Like leaves in a storm?
like leaves,
Like leaves.
Like leaves.
like leaves, like leaves in a
Lightning flashes and a burst of thunder interrupts. A torrent of rain falls from the sky. Scene 1. Hallway in front of Cordelia's childhood apartment on the Upper West Side. Present day, sundown. Cordelia reaches for the doorbell but hesitates.
Everything is oddly the same, yet different. The same door, heavy with echoes, paint peeling like forgotten wounds. The same light that's never been fixed, flickers. Can I find the strength? Can I see it through? Can I carry this weight? Okay, breathe. Find the right moment. find the right words. Francesca's right. I must see this through. For myself.
Genevieve opens the door.
I thought I heard someone in the hallway. How'd you get in the front door?
I just followed someone through.
Of course, they let you through. Come on in.
They enter the apartment. Cordelia takes off her shoes.
Cordelia! I'm so glad you're here. It's been such a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
15 years is a very long time to be absent.
Well, I have called. How's Stan?
Fine.
How long are you here for?
Not long. I just wanted to tell. I wanted to.
Just spit it out.
Let her finish on her own time.
Where's Mom?
In her bedroom. But there's something you should know.
Mother's behavior has changed pretty drastically over the last couple of weeks.
Like how?
Well, I was cleaning your room just now, and she didn't like that I was in there, and she got upset. She was saying that I was stealing her stuff.
We managed to calm her down a bit, so hopefully she resets.
Helen enters clutching a court jester plush toy.
Know that we have divided in three our kingdom, and 'tis our fast intent to shake all cares and business from our age, conferring them on younger strengths, while we unburdened crawl towards death. Toward death. Toward death.
Mom, are you okay? What's going on?
Just humor her.
Tell me, my daughters, since now we will divest us both of rule, interest of territory, cares of state, which of you shall we say doth love us most, that we our largest bounty may extend, where nature doth with merit challenge?
Is that a good idea?
Just play along. If not, she gets aggressive.
Goneril, our eldest born, speak first.
Sir, I love you more than word can wield the matter. Dearer than eyesight, space, and liberty, beyond what can be valued, rich or rare, no less than life, with grace, health, beauty, honor, as much a child e'er loved or father found, a love that makes breath poor and speech unable, beyond all matter of so much I love you.
What says our second daughter, our dearest Regina?
I am made of that self-mettled as my sister, and prize me at her worth. In my true heart, I find she names my very deed of love, only she comes too short. That I profess myself an enemy to all other joys, which the most precious square of sense possess. And find I am alone facilitate in your dear highness love.
Now, our joy. What can you say to draw a third more opulent than your sisters? Speak.
All right, I'm not doing this.
Please. You're just gonna make things worse, as usual.
But this is weird.
How, Cordelia? Mend your speech a little, lest you mar your fortunes.
Mom, it's me, Cordelia. Please, you're scaring me.
Let it be so, thy truth then. Be thy dower. Better thou hadst not been born than not to have pleased me better. Therefore begone without our grace, our love, our benison.
Helen exits and heads back to her bedroom.
Mom, wait.
Just give her a moment to reset.
What the hell was that?
It's just one of Mother's new quirks.
Okay. And how long has this been going on?
Her memory has been getting worse this past year. The Shakespeare thing started about a week ago.
And King Lear, is it because she was an English literature professor?
Yep.
Kind of obsessed with it, actually.
Right. She used to teach it at Columbia.
And the game she used to make us play?
Which one?
She would say a line and
And we would have to finish it. Yes, I remember now.
Gives me nightmares thinking about it. I I mean, what kind of mother forces her children to memorize King Lear?
Okay. But why didn't anyone tell me?
Tell you? Tell you? We haven't seen you in over a decade. You call like once a year. She didn't even come to Dad's funeral.
Jen, please.
Why are you even here now?
Well, I'm getting, you know what? It's late. I'm just gonna go to my room and unpack.
Cordelia exits and heads for her childhood bedroom. Regina glares at Genevieve. Genevieve rolls her eyes. Scene 2, Cordelia's bedroom. A moment later, Cordelia's on the phone with Francesca, her girlfriend.
Hey, babe. Sorry I missed your call. I had my phone on silent. No, not yet. Yeah, I know the wedding is in December, but listen, honey, Francesca, look, coming out was easy for you. My family is complicated. I just don't know how they would react. And my mom, she's not doing very well right now. I'm gonna need to stay here a little bit longer. I'm not sure. I'll let you know when I figure things out. Okay. I love you too. Bye.
Cordelia glances around her childhood bedroom. Everything looks exactly as it was the day she left it. It feels familiar yet suffocating. Enter Regina.
Hey, deals. Jen says, wow. Mother kept your bedroom exactly the same as before. Mine is now a storage closet full of boxes.
You were saying something about Jen?
Right. Sister meeting, living room. Yeah.
They head to the living room where Genevieve is.
What is it?
We need to talk about Mother.
Where is she anyway?
In her room watching TV. I put on HGTV. That seems to calm her down.
For now.
Aren't there drugs for this sort of thing?
Those work for only 1 out of 10 people. And they're clearly not working in Mother's case. I think we need to start thinking long term. With this new Shakespeare thing, I don't think the situation is going to be sustainable.
I agree.
What are you suggesting?
Assisted living.
A facility?
In a memory care unit.
What is memory care?
It's assisted living, but the doors are more secure.
That sounds like a prison.
It's for her own protection, so she can't wander off and hurt herself.
Still,
Mother needs professional help. I cannot do it by myself. We cannot do it by ourselves.
It's true, deals.
is that what Mother wants?
Probably not, but it's exactly what she needs.
Okay, but if you've already decided, then why are you even asking me?
I just thought that you might want to be involved, for once. Also, 3 of us are listed as your healthcare proxy. All decisions must be unanimous.
Okay, then I don't agree. Would you want to go to a facility if that was you? I wouldn't.
It's not about me, or even you. It's about Mother.
Then what about one of those home nurses or something?
You mean a home health aide? We tried that. The first one Mother claimed was beating her. I checked her body. There were no bruises. Mother bit the second one. Now the home health aid company doesn't even answer my phone calls anymore.
Why didn't you tell me?
We did. Didn't you remember?
No.
Of course.
So we're just going to dump her in a home? What if they abuse her?
These are paid professionals. Some of these places are quite comfortable.
There's got to be another way.
Like what? Do you want to move back home and take care of her? Do you want to give up your apartment in LA?
I never said that.
Do you want to quit your job and move back here and be a full-time caretaker? Because that's what I'm doing.
And I get that.
I'm the one that's taking care of her every single day. I'm the one that cooks. I'm the one that cleans. I'm the one that helps her bathe.
You're not
Regina
listening.
drops in whenever she can, but it's mostly just
Okay,
me.
sure.
And then when
Make
you
it
show
about
up out of the blue for who knows what reason, and well, were you here when she forgot something on the stove and almost burned down the building? Were you here when she left the tub to overflow and flooded the entire apartment? Were you here when she bit Regina in the leg?
Stop! 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 Hey. Oh. Mother is in the next room and she can hear you.
I just think this is a big decision and we shouldn't rush into it.
Okay. We don't have to commit to anything right now, but what if we just started looking for a place? And if it's nice and we all agree, then we can make a decision.
Fine.
Fine. I'll start looking right now.
Genevieve exits to her bedroom.
Oh, that was exhausting.
Tell me about it.
I need a drink. Do you want one?
Yeah, sure.
Regina reaches behind the complete works of Shakespeare and pulls out a bottle of gin.
Mother's secret stash.
Was that there the whole time?
No. Well, when Mother gave up drinking because of Dad, she kept the bottle back there. She used to take a sip after their fights. She didn't think I noticed, but I did. Here.
Thanks.
You know, sometimes Genevieve can be such a, what's the word?
A bitch?
Don't be mean. She's been going through a difficult time. She and Stan are getting a divorce.
Wow, did she just lie to my face?
It's hard for her to talk about it, and this whole thing with Mother is not helping.
Right. How are Grace and Hope?
The twins are fine. They're bickering teenagers, so and they're fucking annoying phrase right now. Oh, pass the bottle. Okay. Oh, last week Grace got arrested for jumping the turnstile.
Damn.
So I screamed at her, "Are you stupid? Why can't you be more like your sister?" The second I said it, I realized I sounded exactly like Mother. And that scared me. It scares me a lot.
Do you think we'll end up being like Mom?
God, I hope not. I don't know. I heard women are twice as likely to be affected, and those with a parent or sibling affected are at even higher risk.
How's your husband?
He's good. He's just got a promotion, so things are going well.
That's great.
Although sometimes I wish, I mean, you work in tech. Jen's a lawyer. Mother used to be a professor. I wish I had something other than my kids, my husband, and a sourdough starter. I wish I had more time to write.
Yeah. What about that novel you were working on? Is it finished yet?
Sort of. I really need to revise it. But after the kids came along and now Mother, I really don't have the time.
But it's good. From the few pages you let me read anyway.
Really? You think so? That is so sweet.
Yeah. You should try and get it published or something.
I wish, but querying like death by 1,000 rejections and networking. I'd like to try, but I'm not sure if I have it in me to put myself out there. Also, I don't know if I have the time right now. Someday, maybe. But enough about me. How are you?
I'm actually getting married.
Really? Congratulations.
Thanks.
Who's the lucky girl?
It's Francesca. Wait. You knew I was gay?
Not 100%, but I guessed.
Okay, but how did you know I'm gay?
There were clues. Birkenstocks, that haircut, all those Lilith Fair posters.
Rude.
Just kidding. Okay, it was, I guess, the way you looked at other girls. It was just I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Are you gonna ask Jen and Mom?
That's the plan. Do you think we should move, Mom?
I don't think there are any good answers to that question. I guess the question is, what would Mother want?
Right. Do you want some more?
I'm good, yeah. Tomorrow's a school day, gotta get home. Luckily, I'm only a few blocks away, so can you put that back?
Sure.
Cordelia puts the bottle of gin back behind the complete works of Shakespeare. She feels something in the back. Pulls out Helen's diary.
Wait, what's this? It looks like Mom's journal.
Ooh, secret diary.
What do you think is inside?
Probably a long list of many ways I have disappointed her.
Should we read it?
I'm okay, I gotta go. Just give me the Cliff Notes version next time.
Regina exits for home. Cordelia opens the diary. As Cordelia reads, Helen appears as a flashback to the day she graduated from her PhD program.
Today I walked across the stage, claiming my PhD. Today I walked across the stage despite my mother's gaze. Today I wore my cap like a crown of stars, defying the weight of her wishes. Mother always said, no one cares about what you think about Shakespeare. Is this why you never have any time for me? Why can't you be more like your sister? Her words 1,000 paper cuts, 1,000 tiny wounds. But Shakespeare was a sanctuary. His plays, solace, his words, a place to hide. So at Berkeley, I closed my wounds with verse, healed my scars with sonnets, cured by iambic pentameter and rhyme. So here's to chapters unwritten. Here's to a bright future. Today I stand proud like the sun. My heart opens like the blue, blue sky.
Scene 3, the kitchen. The next morning. Genevieve is sitting at the table drinking tea. Enter Cordelia.
Morning.
Morning.
There's some green tea on the counter if you want some. It's supposed to be good for memory.
Thanks.
Cordelia makes herself a cup of tea and drinks.
So I found a couple places for Mother last night. I'm gonna drop by today to check them out. Do you wanna come along?
I actually have a few things I need to get done. Maybe next time.
Typical.
I found something last night.
Found what?
Mom's diary. She wrote,
Enter Helen searching for something.
Where is it? Where did I hide it?
Mom, what are you looking for?
I don't remember.
Is everything all right?
Yeah, everything's fine. Cordelia, when did you get in?
last night.
That's wonderful. I missed you so much. How long are you here for?
For a bit.
I know. Let's go to Riverside Park. Remember, like when you were little?
Sure.
You were always my favorite.
What about Genevieve? Should we ask her to come along?
I'm not free anyway. There's a couple of places I need to visit.
Wonderful. I'm just gonna get my coat and we can head out.
Helen exits.
Just keep an eye on her, and if anything happens, don't try to argue with her. If there's anything you can't handle, call me immediately. Got it?
Okay.
Scene 4, Riverside Park. A few hours later, Helen and Cordelia are sitting on a park bench.
How's your ice cream?
It's good. That woman's carrying a baby.
What? Oh, yeah. Listen, Mom, I need to tell you something.
Anything, sweetie. That woman's carrying a baby.
Yep, she is. What I wanted to say was that
That woman's carrying a baby.
I'm getting married.
Really? That's wonderful.
Wait, you think that's wonderful?
Absolutely. I'm so happy for you. Where's the wedding?
in December, and I would really love for you to be there.
Of course I'll be there. I'm so glad you found someone that makes you happy, Charlotte. Christine.
Christine? You mean like Aunt Christine, your sister?
Who else would you be?
I'm Cordelia.
No, you're not. You're my sister, Christine. Who's Cordelia?
Your daughter.
You're very funny, Christine. You know I never want to have kids.
Oh.
It's getting late. Should we go home?
Sure, let's go home.
Scene 5, the apartment living room, later that day. Genevieve is waiting for Helen and Cordelia.
Mom, you're home.
I'm tired. I'm just gonna go lie down for a bit.
Helen exits to her bedroom.
All right, I'll let you know when dinner's ready. Why were you gone for so long? I tried texting you, but you didn't respond.
You did? I guess I didn't notice.
Of course you didn't. Anyway, how did it go?
It was fine.
So nothing happened?
Why would you assume that something happened?
Well, you are kind of a triggering presence.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Did Mom do anything weird?
Not weirder than usual. She thought I was Aunt Christine, and I tried to explain who I was.
Oh my God, why did you do that? Rule number 1, if Mom mistakes you for someone else, just play along. Now you've upset her, and now I have to go deal with this.
Okay, calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down.
Look, Mother was fine. Nothing happened. She thought I was Aunt Christine. I dealt with it. We're back. Why is everything I do never good enough for you? Or are you just upset because she didn't want you to come along? Okay, whatever.
Cordelia stomps back to her bedroom and slams the door. Scene 6, Cordelia's bedroom, a second later. Cordelia closes the door and exhales sharply. She notices Helen's diary on her bed. She picks it up and starts reading it. Helen appears as a flashback when she brought Genevieve home from the hospital.
I was afraid to be a mother, afraid to pass on my family curse, afraid of becoming my mother. But I couldn't say no to Harry. And now, Genevieve, my baby, Genevieve, so radiant like the sun. I promise you patience, to listen when you speak, to truly see you, not a reflection of my fears, but a child crafted from love and possibility. I promise to be more than the shadow my mother cast. I promise to be more than the echo of her pain. I promise the scars I carry will not touch you. I promise to hold you when you cry, never pushing you aside, never allowing you to feel conditional. So close your sweet eyes. Let the world fade away. In my arms, you are safe. In my arms, you are safe. This I promise.
Scene 7, Helen's bedroom, 3 days later. Genevieve enters Helen's room.
Mom, are you ready? We have a doctor's appointment at 12. Mom, where are you?
Helen pops up from the side of the bed.
Where is it? Where did I hide it?
Mom, what are you looking for?
I don't remember.
Oh my God, you're not anywhere near ready yet. All right, come on, put on these pants.
No, I need to find it.
Okay, put on your pants first and then I'll help you look, all right?
Okay. Genevieve helps her mother put her pants on.
One foot, okay, then the other one. I'm just gonna button you up, okay?
Genevieve buttons up her mother's pants.
Okay, all done.
Thank you.
Great, now put on your jacket because you're going to the doctor, okay?
No, I need to find it.
Mom, we don't have time, we're already late.
No, I need to find it.
I'll help you find it later.
No, I need it right now.
Mom, we really need to go.
Helen shoves Genevieve to the floor.
Stop telling me what to do. You are not my mother. You couldn't become a mother even if you wanted to. Remember what happened the last time you tried? It's probably why Stan left. can't you be more like your sister? You're a failure as a wife. You're a failure as a daughter. You're a failure as a woman. You couldn't have kids even if you tried.
That's... You think I like being here dealing with this shit day in and day out? Dealing with each fancy, each complaint?
How let it be so? I have another daughter who I am sure is kind and comfortable. When she shall hear this of thee with her nails, she'll flay thy wolfish visage.
Oh, which daughter? Cordelia? Regina? I'm the only one that's actually here, making sure you don't die.
Helen lunges forward, grabs Genevieve's arm, and bites down hard.
Ow! Ow! No biting! Stop that!
Regina and Cordelia enter.
What's going on? We heard you from the other room.
Helen runs and hides behind Cordelia.
She's hurting me.
That's not true.
Okay. I think you need to leave. We'll deal with Mother.
Fine.
Genevieve exits.
Mom, let's get you to bed, okay?
Don't touch me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I want Cordelia to help me.
I'm just going to put on HGTV.
Cordelia helps her mother to bed while Regina turns on the television. Scene 8, the living room. A second later, Genevieve is fuming in the living room.
I am the bruise you ignore, Mother. The unopened wound. The afterthought pressed into the corner while she blooms like a rose in your lap. I folded myself into your mold, Mother, like a good daughter. But she's the sun you revolve around, and I'm the moon. Cold, distant, reflecting what little you left behind. Does she even appreciate it, Mother? The promise of your love, heavy on her shoulders, while I stand here in the corner, wishing for the moment when you see me, not as second place, second choice, second in line, but one who deserved to be first. Just once. Just once. Just once.
Genevieve receives an email on her phone and reads it. Enter Regina and Cordelia.
Mom's asleep.
Good. I just got an email from one of the memory care units. A room just opened.
That's fast.
I guess we got lucky. We can move her within a week if we get the paperwork done quickly.
I still don't think that's what Mom would want.
And how would you know? You some kind of mind reader or something?
I found her diary.
Right.
It was behind the complete works of Shakespeare. Let me show you.
As they read the diary, Helen appears as a flashback to when she admitted her mother into memory care.
It was raining the day I admitted my mother to memory care. A sterile room, a pastel prison, the aides stand watch like guards. A sterile room, a pastel prison, my mother's new home. Was it love that brought me to this brink, or a desperate push to escape your wishes? Did I abandon you or save myself? Late at night, I wonder if I will become you, paralyzed by fear of inheriting your silence, and a sterile room, a pastel prison. The aides stand watch like guards, a sterile room, a pastel prison, my mother's new home. I would rather die than be trapped. I would rather die. I would rather die than be trapped, a captive in the prison of memory care.
The memory of Helen disappears, and the action shifts back to the present.
Okay, but that's a diary entry from years ago.
Yes, but it reflects her desire not to go to assisted living.
But she wrote that entry in a specific moment in time. She could not possibly have foreseen what she would become. None of us can.
And who knows what kind of mental state she was in at the time. Did she even have capacity then? Does she have capacity now?
I think we should try and honor her wishes as much as possible.
What does that even mean? She also said that she would rather die. Does that mean that we kill her? That's ridiculous.
Letting her degrade without any kind of professional help is also a form of death.
I'm sorry, I cannot agree to this.
All right. Then you move in.
Jen,
Permanently. You can be here to take all her appointments. You can be here to give up your life, your career, your everything for her. Because I just can't anymore. Are you willing to do that? Yeah, I didn't think so. This is the best choice for her. It's the best choice for us. If you won't help us, then at least don't get in our way.
Fine.
Cordelia exits for her bedroom. Scene 9, Helen's bedroom, the next day, sundown. Genevieve and Regina are packing up Helen's belongings in preparation to move to memory care. Regina is sewing labels into Helen's clothes. Genevieve is putting the clothes into a bag.
how many labels do we need?
One for each piece of clothing. Are you almost done? Mother's almost finished eating dinner and we should really be done before she comes back.
I'm sewing as fast as I can. Do we need to pack toiletries?
Yeah. I got the soap that she likes.
I don't see why they can't provide these things.
I don't know either. I mean, I guess the more stuff that Mother finds familiar will make the transition easier.
Looks like it might rain.
Helen enters searching for something.
Where is it? Where did I hide it?
Mom, are you done eating?
I was waiting for you. We always eat dinner together. What are you doing with my stuff?
Oh, just packing it.
Am I going somewhere?
It's a mini vacation.
A resort.
Yes. All expenses paid.
You won't have to worry about a thing.
The aides will take care of everything.
The aides stand watch like guards.
I mean, waiters.
The aides stand watch like guards. A sterile room.
No, it's a
hostile
vacation.
prison. A sterile room. A hostile
You're gonna
prison.
love it there.
No, you unnatural hags. I will
Mom,
have such
please.
revenges on you both that all the world shall.
They have a
I will do
library
such
and
things.
books
What
and
they are yet I
activities.
know not, but they shall be the terrors of the earth. You think I'll weep? No, I'll not weep. I have full cause of weeping, but this heart shall break into 1,000 flaws, or ere I'll weep.
Cordelia enters.
Oh, my dear father, restoration hang, thy medicine on my lips, and what's the next line, Mom? Remember? Like that game we used to play? Thy medicine on thy lips, and
Let this kiss repair those violent harms that my two sisters have in thy reverence made.
good job! You wanna watch some HGTV?
Mm-hmm. You're always my favorite.
I got this.
Genevieve and Regina leave as Cordelia gets Helen into bed and turns on the television. Scene 10, fire escape. A few minutes later, Genevieve is smoking on the balcony. Dark clouds gather overhead. Cordelia enters.
Looks like it's about to rain.
Where's Mom?
Watching TV. Regina's keeping an eye on her.
Good.
When did you start smoking again?
Since I moved back in. Do you want one?
I'm okay. Wow, this area has really changed since we were kids.
Yeah, a lot more families now.
I haven't gotten that many ni hao mas to my face like when we were kids.
The neighborhood's gotten a little better. She hides her scars well, but they're still here. You know where to look.
How are you holding up? I mean, Mom can be difficult even before all of this.
I manage.
Thanks for being here. I mean, for Mom.
good daughter does. Except I'm never gonna be her favorite, apparently.
So I've heard. Not that being her favorite means shit. I mean, Mom didn't do anything when Dad kicked me out for being gay.
What? That couldn't have happened.
Well, it did. It was after graduation, and there was a girl I was dating at the time. She stayed over, and Dad saw us in my bed. Not like sex or anything graphic like that. She just had her arm around me. And later that day, he packed a bag for me and told me to never come back. And Mom, she never said a word.
Wow. Dad just said something about you couldn't stand living with us anymore and had to do your own thing. Why didn't you tell me?
I don't know. We weren't close growing up. We still aren't.
So why did you decide to come back now?
I wanted to tell you I'm getting married.
Oh.
Her name is Francesca, and I would love for you to come to the wedding if you're free. It's this December.
Tell me. Are gay weddings different from normal weddings?
Well, they are more fun.
I see. I'll be there.
Enter Regina.
Hey, have either of you seen Mom?
What do you mean? I thought you were watching her.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I was just, I can't find her.
Oh shit, oh fucking shit.
The sisters frantically search for Helen. Scene 11. On the streets of New York City, a moment later, a storm rages above as Helen wanders the streets of New York City.
A sterile room, a pastel prison, the aides stand watch like guards. I would rather be trapped. I would rather die than be trapped, a captive in the prison of memory care. Blow winds and crack your cheeks, rage, blow. Your cataracts and hurricanes sprout, till you have drenched our steeples, drowned the cocks. You sulphurous and thought-executing fires, vaunt couriers of oak-cleaving thunderbolts, singe my white head, and thou, all-shaking thunder, strike flat the thick rotundity of the world, crack nature's molds, all Germans spill at once, that makes ingrateful man.
Genevieve runs on the street with a photo of Helen asking people if they have seen her mother.
Excuse me, have you seen this woman? Excuse me, have you seen this Asian woman around here? She's about this tall. Excuse me, have you seen this woman?
Regina is at home making calls to the local hospital to see if Helen has been admitted.
Hi, I'm sorry to bother you, but I was wondering if there was an Asian woman admitted to the hospital recently. My mother has been missing, and I'm not sure if it was an accident.
Cordelia is running through the streets searching for Helen.
Mom?
Rumble thy belly full,
Where are
spit
you?
fire,
Mom?
spout rain.
Hi,
I'm
I'm sorry to
sorry,
bother you. I was
Mom?
wondering if there was
Fire on my daughter.
where
Our
are you?
text
The
not
hospital
you,
recently.
Mom.
This Asian
My
woman
mother
around
has
here.
been
I never
missing,
dated
and
I'm
I'm
sorry,
not sure if there
Call
was
these
an accident.
children
Have you seen this
who
woman?
Subscription, then let
Hi,
fall.
Where
I'm
are
sorry to
you?
bother you, but I was wondering
Mom.
if there was an Asian American woman admitted to the hospital recently.
Excuse me.
My little
Or
boy
Mom.
has been missing, and I'm not sure if there
Despised
was
old
an
Where are you?
Instead I call you
Mom.
servile ministers, that I will teach you
Mom.
to pernicious daughters join.
I'm sorry
Your
to
high
bother you,
vigilant
but
Hi, have
battles
you
against
seen
your
this
head.
Asian
So
woman?
old
This Asian
and
woman, yes,
white
yes.
is
Mom.
this.
Okay.
Oh, hose his
A
foul.
flash of lightning and Helen disappears into the night.
Hours on the street searching.
Hours on the street searching.
Hours on the street hoping
She was safe.
She was fine.
she was okay.
Then there was a phone call.
A phone call.
A phone call.
We answered.
The voice on the other end said,
We found your mother.
Please come down to the precinct to get her.
Scene 12, Helen's bedroom. A few hours later, Genevieve, Regina, and Cordelia help Helen change out of her wet clothes.
Okay, let's get you out of these wet clothes. Can you get her a t-shirt?
Sure.
Regina gets a t-shirt, while Genevieve and Cordelia help Helen take off her top.
One hand at a time.
Helen manages to remove one hand out of the sleeve.
You got it. Okay, other hand now?
Helen removes the other hand out of the sleeve. Regina returns with dry clothes.
Here's some t-shirt and pants.
Her hair's wet. I'm gonna go get a towel.
Cordelia exits to get a towel. Genevieve and Regina help Helen into the dry clothes.
Careful your head, Mom.
Okay, let's get this t-shirt on first.
Now, yes.
Great.
Okay.
She's got it. You got it.
Okay. Now, take off the wet pants.
You probably want to sit down for this.
They help Helen sit on the side of the bed.
Okay, great. I'm just going to pull this off, okay?
Regina removes Helen's wet pants. Genevieve helps Helen put on the dry pants.
Okay, right. Okay, and now left leg. You got it.
Cordelia enters with the towel.
I got the towel.
Okay, let's get her into bed.
Come on, Mom.
They help Helen into bed.
Let's get your hair dry.
Cordelia dries Helen's hair. Helen shivers from the cold.
Mom, are you cold?
You do me wrong to take me out of the grave.
I'm gonna make you some soup, okay? It's gonna warm you up.
And I'll get some tea.
Genevieve and Regina exit to the kitchen.
They'll be back soon, okay? Here, let's get you under the sheets.
Cordelia gets Helen under the sheets and she embraces Helen to keep her warm.
Feeling better?
You were always my favorite.
I was going to tell you earlier, but there was never a good time. Not that now is a great time either. And maybe I'm too late, but I'm getting married. I'm getting married to a woman. Her name is Francesca. I think you would like her a lot. And I don't expect you to come to the wedding or understand, but I just wanted to let you know.
Your father was wrong.
What did you say?
Where's my fool?
Your fool? You mean that toy you carry around? I think it's there it is.
Cordelia takes the court jester toy from the dresser. She notices there's a flap behind the toy.
Wait, what's this?
She opens the flap and finds a bottle of pills and a folded up letter. Cordelia reads the letter.
Did you find what I was looking for? If you have poison for me, I will drink it.
Cordelia hands Helen the court jester toy but holds on to the pills and letter.
I'm just gonna go check on your soup, okay?
Cordelia exits for the kitchen. Scene 13, the kitchen. A few moments later, Cordelia enters the kitchen where Genevieve and Regina are cooking. Cordelia holds the bottle of pills and letter in her hand.
After today, I think we can all agree that it's time. I just don't see how we can keep Mother safe in the apartment any longer.
I agree.
I found something. They were hidden in that toy Mother keeps carrying around.
Pills?
Pentobarbital. I looked it up. It's a euthanasia drug.
Oh my God.
And the letter that Mother wrote.
What does it say?
The sisters gather around to read the letter. Helen appears as a flashback when she wrote the letter.
These pills, I got them from a friend who works at a pharmacy. A secret favor. My dear future self, it is my deepest wish for you to be happy. My dear future self, it is my deepest wish for you to be free. So, my dear future self, I got you a gift, a way to escape our fate. I'm afraid I'll end up just like my mother. I'm afraid I'll end up just like my sister. A sterile room, a pastel prison. Promise me you'll take them when the time is right. Promise me you'll do it before it's too late. Promise me you'll have the courage to do what's best for me.
The memory of Helen disappears and the action shifts back to present day.
No, that's out of the question.
I'm sorry, are you suggesting we give her the pills and let her die?
I don't know, maybe.
That's insane for so many reasons. We could all go to jail for this.
And killing is wrong.
But sending her to memory care goes against everything she wants.
But at least she'll be alive.
Physically, maybe.
How do you even know she wrote the letter? When she wrote the letter, she had full mental capacity. Maybe she already had dementia at that point. Now who even knows what she wants?
Helen enters.
I fear I am not in my perfect mind.
Mom, you're up. Do you need something?
If you have poison for me, I will drink it.
Okay, Mom, we're not playing the King Lear game right now.
If you have poison for me, I will drink it. I will drink it. I will drink it.
You can't be serious.
If you have poison for me, I will drink it.
I can't be part of this.
Genevieve exits to her room.
If you have poison for me, I will drink it.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Regina exits to her bedroom.
If you have poison for me, I will drink it. I fear I am not in my perfect mind.
Can I find the strength to
Be your
promise of
tears
your
wet.
love?
Heavy on
Yes,
my heart.
any
faint
good
and
like
crazy.
her
While I stand
Weep
here in
not.
the corner.
If you
Can I
have
see it
poison
through?
for me, I
What
will drink it.
would Mother
Will I
want?
drink
If you
like my
have
mother?
poison for me,
Can I carry
Will
this
I
weight?
drink
I
the
will
tea
drink.
like my
I
mother?
can't.
The women's voices build to a crescendo. Then lightning flashes and a burst of thunder interrupts. A torrent of rain falls from the sky. End of opera.
Just give us a minute now to change from to the conversation. Hello?
Hi everyone. So, since this is a work in progress, the creators have asked for specific types of feedback. We're going to follow a process called the Liz Lerman critical response process, which helps shape constructive dialogues about works in progress. This process distinguishes between different types of questions and comments so that the artistic team can get the most useful feedback as they develop their work. So toward that end, there's an order in which different types of questions and comments can be shared. So what we're going to do is this. I will identify and explain each step. Then, if applicable, I'll start with the first instance to give you a sense of what the step is asking for. Then we'll open it up to the audience. So the first step is statements of meaning. The audience states what was meaningful, evocative, interesting, exciting, striking in the work they've just witnessed. So I will start with mine. I thought this was an incredibly beautiful meditation on love, really, and you know, in the same way that King Lear, well, at least the character of King Lear tries to flatten what love can be, I think this really explored what love can look like and how it can manifest in different ways and in different types of people. So I thought it was really beautiful. So I'll open it up to the audience.
For me, the most striking thing is you change the father-daughter relationship to mother-daughter relationship, and especially in East Asian society, the relationship between mothers and daughters are just fraught with tension, and you didn't think away from the cruelty of the mother. I think that's very that's very striking, and especially I'm thinking the East Asian adaptations of King Lear, like you think the Kurosawa movie Run, and also there's the Peking opera King Lear, they were all male. Like Kurosawa changes three daughters into three sons, and the Peking opera King Lear is just one male character. So that part is most striking.
Yeah, I have another one. I thought it was really striking, the repetition of the 1,000 tiny cuts. I thought that was such a beautiful way to think about the legacy of hurt that families can pass on from generation to generation. And so, you know, the sort of refrains of that, and then, you know, why can't you be more like your sister? I mean, you know, it created this real feeling of kind of, I don't know, feeling constricted in a way by these hurts that can't get away from the family.
Kind of building off of that, something that struck me was the limit of location, where everything that is very meaningful happens in the childhood home, the apartment, and so there's always that kind of connection where it's closing in, where a place where they saw that decline and deterioration of the mother, it's in everything that they see. We see it in the hidden gin behind the Shakespeare works that the middle daughter had seen, as well as going back to the park where they would always go. It's another kind of connection to the childhood, and seeing that juxtaposition as to how she has become as with her mental capacity.
I guess I'll touch on a point that hasn't been mentioned before. I really like the aspects talking about caregiving, especially to people with dementia, and kind of the complexity of that. I thought it was dealt with very well. And a kind of like ambiguous ending. It's very like dramatic, kind of building on how like there isn't like a good response. Like how do you honor someone's autonomy, but like you also don't want them to die, and who makes the decisions. I have watched like a lot of things related to caregiving recently for some reason, and this was quite like striking to me.
We move on to our next category. So the next step is artist as questioner. So the artist will ask questions about the work, and after each question, the audience can answer. We may express opinions if they're in direct response to the question asked and do not contain suggestions for changes. So I'll turn it over to the artists to ask questions, and audience members are welcome to raise their hands to respond.
So there'll be a section later for opinions and suggestions to changes. So we'll leave that for later. You'll get your chance. I guess for me the question is, okay, so raise your hand if you have read King Lear, you know King Lear. Okay, raise your hand if you don't know anything about King Lear at all. Great. So does everyone know everything about King Lear? No, everyone raised their hand. All right. Okay, so I'm assuming, okay, so if you don't know anything about King Lear, or you do know something about King Lear, was there anything that I guess surprised you about this adaptation, or maybe confused you about this adaptation? Yeah, that's my question.
I just quickly Googled the King Lear on the internet. my memory served me. The two older sisters were kind of evil, so I was waiting for them to turn evil. That didn't really happen. I was like, wait, they're supposed to be evil. Cordelia's supposed to be the good one, but that didn't really happen. This is my question. That's it. No, I love the fact that the mother, that her sphere of power was as a professor of literature, which is, high tech, at Columbia. That their whole life was Upper West Side, and that was kind of your translation, it seems to me, of whatever I don't remember that much, but the kingdom, wherever Macbeth land was. It's been a while. I just really admired that, and it all kind of fit. As people as I'm talking, it almost felt a little bit, I hate to say the name, but Woody Allen-like in terms of our neuroses in New York. But I don't think that was your intent, and I don't think that's necessary. It's me riffing. But I really admired that. It carried kind of a subtle undertone of intensity that it earned just from the location.
I think something that was very clear from the very beginning is that I kind of appreciated how in a lot of ways it wasn't really an adaptation of King Lear, but rather these people contextualizing their own lives with King Lear, and especially with the mother, and how, kind of like how, because King Lear is something that, it exists in their world, they've all read it, and it's just sort of this coincidence that their lives happen to align with this book that they know, and like the story itself doesn't necessarily follow like King Lear, the story, in exact ways. It's just this thing that they latch onto, and I think it's a very good thing that the story doesn't feel the need to consider itself like a true adaptation and a true kind of following of the story, and rather is using it as a tool for the story.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that's really interesting about, I guess, this version is, usually when we think in terms of adaptations, especially of Shakespeare, people like to take the plot of Shakespeare but not use his language. And I thought that we did something rather different, which is sort of like have a plot but take his language and recontextualize it in this situation. And that, for me, is like, is it really an adaptation? I guess maybe that's a bigger question, a bigger philosophical question. Sorry, did you have a question?
No, I think one thing surprises me, or I expected but didn't happen, is the mother didn't divide it up her kingdom, or the mother didn't divide up anything.
I was so struck by the self-referentiality of, I think it was referred to as a game that Cordelia tries to use with the quotations from Shakespeare to calm her mother down and sort of return to that state of
sort of to interrupt the rising climax in that moment, and in the sense of King Lear being a play that is not calm in many senses, that seemed really genius to me.
So I'd like to move on to another question. So I guess this one's really about generations, and I guess maybe what do you think Helen's relationship with her mother was or is like, and what do you think Regina's relationship with her daughters are like? Sort of an open-ended question, I guess.
You know, I actually did not really mind the fact that, well, I actually thought when I was watching it that it was more inspired by Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. And even though there was a dad and this is a mom, it was very much like three daughters, and a lot of the family, you know, trauma and intergenerational issues came out, very much like what she said, which was great, spot on. And I really was drawn to the story based on that. I didn't really care whether it was an adaptation or I was just drawn to your story. And I think I identify with it because of me and my own issues with my family, you know, with my mom and what she said about, you know, how it all passes down. So I saw that, you know, about Helen and her mom and how she didn't want to turn out to be like her. And I think sometimes that's kind of like outrageous fear that would turn out to be like our parents. And then the fear is realized, right? And I see that in Regina and Helen and, you know, and all their relationships. So it's complex. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Do you want to move on to the third one? Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so thank you. So the third step is neutral questions. The audience can ask neutral questions about the work and the artist responds. Questions are neutral when they do not have an opinion couched in them. For example, when discussing the lighting, don't say, "Why was it so dark?" Instead, a neutral question is, "What guided your choices about the lighting?" So I have a question. I hope it's neutral. I really loved how. Well, sorry, that's a terrible. All right. I'll just. Okay, I'll start from the beginning. Why did you choose not to replicate the Shakespearean language in the initial insults of Genevieve? Because then they did come through later.
Yeah, that's a great question. So in previous drafts, I did, and that was the sterility speech that came through. But I think what we discovered was that I think it was really so working with Kate, my dramaturg over there, is really great. She like really held our feet to the fire and was like, "This is what you were going for, so let's just try and make that work." And for me, it was like, why does Helen reach for Shakespeare, and when does she reach for Shakespeare? And I guess it really clicked for me like a couple of weeks ago that she reaches for this language whenever it's really a defensive kind of thing, right? She sort of retreats into that because Shakespeare is like her sanctuary, and when she has nowhere else to go and everything else has disappeared, that's when she goes for that. I think in that moment, she's actually on the attack as opposed to like a defense. So like when Genevieve starts attacking, then she retreats back into Shakespeare. And I think also having it in that more contemporary vernacular makes it even more brutal than like the Shakespeare, because for us it has this like remove that happens in that moment rather than just really going for the jugular. That any family, if you know a person and you love them and you know their weaknesses, and in that moment you would just attack with whatever their most terrible weakness is.
Hi. Why the choice of Genevieve as the caretaker instead of Regina?
especially the caretaker. So for me, when I first started out, we just sort of like carved them out into different relationships with the mother and involvement with the mother. So I knew from the start Cordelia was sort of like the distant one coming in, the estranged one because of the whole like coming out situation with the father. And then the question is, what was it between Genevieve and Regina? And I think for me, a big part of it was also what was happening with Regina's life at the time. So like her own marriage was falling apart. And so she also decided to move in with the mother to sort of like get away from that marriage situation because the divorce is sort of currently happening. And that sort of how it worked out. And for me, it was like, I just wanted to create this like older, belligerent sister who like does everything and is just like so overwhelmed and takes it out on like the youngest sister who comes around like, okay, what are you doing here? Why are you suddenly telling me to do everything or assuming that you know everything when you haven't been here for 15 years? So that's sort of how it sort of played out in terms of like assigning the different roles and the levels of responsibility for mother.
Just curious, why did you make Cordelia gay, and also how did that play into being the mother's favorite?
Yeah, I mean for me, okay, so that choice was because Justine wanted to make her gay. Honestly, that's why. But also like, you know, as a person who is gay and my sister is lesbian, so I feel like who better to like work and write this character. And for me, I also wanted that tension where it's like she was the favorite, but there's also this tension of the father kicks her out and Helen doesn't stand up for her, doesn't do anything for her. So I wanted that really complicated tension to happen. So it's not this like, I love you and I'll do anything for you kind of thing. Because I think it has to do with the scars that are passed down from mother to daughter for each generation and what you are or are not able to say or what you would love to do, but what comes out is completely different. And I think that adds that layer of complexity to that relationship.
Why did you remove the character of the fool, and do you think that you transferred the characteristics of the fool onto any of the characters in this current draft?
I don't think it was an intentional erasure of the fool. I think I wanted it represented in terms of the doll, but I didn't want it to be, because for me, this piece is not, like original King Lear, it's really about, you know, property, whereas here it's really more about, I guess, emotional property, right? Emotional real estate, as opposed to like, I want the apartment or something like that. So for me, I just really wanted to pare it down to that mother-daughter relationship and about intergenerational trauma and how to heal it. Can it be healed in the first place? Our big picture idea that we talked about like really early on was like, well, what is the big idea that we're trying to explore? And I guess the question we were going for is, can you heal from genetic and emotional intergenerational trauma? And for me, I didn't see the fool or even the Edgar Edmund really playing into that. So that's why we don't have Edgar and Edmund sort of turn into like, you know, grace and hope, which I think is also really funny because like, what is grace and what is hope and how do they have conflict with each other, right?
Could you elaborate on your choice for sound with the overlapping voices versus the silence that exists between each of the relationships?
Yeah, I think because this is gonna be an opera, so most of it is, I mean, it's all gonna be sung, right? So I think, I don't know, I think maybe this is a question for you. Do you wanna answer this one?
The composer.
Hi, I'm the future composer of this. And I think if this is your first libretto reading, welcome. It's a very special and interesting space because speech doesn't behave the same way as singing. It's hard to really imagine what's going to happen. So Marcus has done a beautiful job, and our beautiful actors have done this too, of stating everything they're going to say before all the overlapping happens. So basically, they're being interwoven with each other, so it's not
gonna be that total chaos of just it's not gonna be cacophony. You're gonna hear the lines and they're gonna interweave and play with each other. It's not just talking on top of each other. So it's gonna, it's gonna sound different.
Yeah, I was thinking, like sometimes when you watch a musical and multiple people are singing multiple lines at the same time and you can sort of still hear them because of the different harmonics and how they work. I think that's how it would work in this situation. Yeah, because it is really hard when a bunch of people are talking at the same time. It's really hard to like parse words, but I think like when it's musicalized, then that's where the beauty of like music theater happens.
I want to pay you a compliment, but I'm going to try and be neutral for now. So I'll pay you a compliment later. I'm just curious whether you wanted to tell a story about intergenerational trauma first, and then you realized Lear was the way to do it, or were you looking at Lear as a thing to explore, and then you came to the intergenerational trauma?
Yeah, that's a great question. And for me, it really sort of happened around the same time because we were having dinner, and I was actually telling Justine I want to write this play about a woman who is going through Alzheimer's and and then she basically does the whole King Lear thing and forces her daughters to like reenact the play. And for me, I always had the seed of this idea of that there would be like relationships, familial relationships, and for me that was intergenerational trauma, but I don't think that we really like nailed down that specific question until like we actually started working on the outline and that sort of thing. But I think intergenerational trauma is something that I've always been very, very interested in working on anyway, because it's just sort of like cycles. How do we break the cycle? How do we perpetuate the cycle? Do we do this intentionally or unintentionally? And that's just something that I've always explored in my work. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to hog the mic, but it's kind of in a way follow-up to what we talk about. One of the things that I actually really like, especially in a way that I could identify with as well, because I'm the one who left Singapore, and my brother is the one who stayed. And to the question of Hong Ling's question about like, did you intentionally, assign Genevieve as the main caregiver? And the way I see it as well is that in our East Asian culture, the eldest usually has to perform that role, or is expected of them to look after the parent. And so, but that also changes the dynamic between the siblings. The one who left, we feel disempowered to speak up when we are talking about our parents, care, or anything that has to do with the family, elderly and estate. And that I felt that really came out very well in your play. In this, how she was always being shut down because she has no right to say anything because she left home, even though we didn't know her circumstances until later. So, and that also made me curious to know more about Helen's relationship with her sister, which she only briefly mentioned. And I was wondering whether there's something you want to explore a little bit more.
Thank you.
All right, the fourth step is opinion time.
I wasn't ready.
So audience members can state opinions subject to permission from the artist. So the usual form is, I have an opinion about blank. Would you like to hear it? And the artist has the option to say no.
Blanket permission. I'm just gonna blanket permission everyone, so you don't have to say it. Just give me your opinion. It's fine.
Okay, in that case, I'll start.
Are you giving an example, Cordelia?
I can say an example, sure. So, well, maybe we should, if people are ready, let's just open it up. That's great. Let's do it. Okay. Just to deepen the complexity of the siblings and the above order. The middle child is always the one who's trying to do the right thing. So if I wrote this play, I would make the middle child the caregiver, because the firstborn can do no wrong, and the youngest one is always the most loved. And
To Does anyone else agree or disagree with that?
Well, I guess I probably kind of disagree because one of the things that was really interesting to me about it was that the youngest one was the favorite of the mother. You know, and that's not very common. So I don't know, like if whether that was one of the things that struck me the most, and I really enjoyed that part because I was like, wow, I can see how the jealousy and it also felt sort of spiteful between the oldest sister and the youngest sister. I thought that was a nice complexity between them.
Hi. Just want to add into some complexity because in my own life experience that when the siblings are competing with parents' love, there usually is something that they're trying to associate with the parent. For instance, if there is something that, especially like King Lear, there is the land, the kingdom, that they want a portion of it. It's not only that they want the power, in my opinion, is that they're also by gaining the half of the kingdom that represents the half of the father's love. So as the extension of that, I wonder if you could, if the mother is just being a professor and has this wealth of knowledge, the representation of the children competing for her love is their understanding through the Shakespeare's literature. Perhaps you could add that one sibling is also the master of some a professor in a different university, or a great Shakespearean actor, or something of the sort that is aligned to the mother's specialty. And then so of course it will be a different level when their mother trying to ask them to read from Shakespeare, and then and somehow play around with that dynamic at the level of the literature, as showing to their competition to the mother's love. Just a suggestion.
I want to take this opportunity to go back to one of the questions you asked about the mother's relationship with her mother and what the audience thought of that. So I think I've noticed that there's this certain trope in stories about generational trauma in that generation, the kind of the grandmother, grandfather generation, is depicted as kind of just evil, terrible parents. And then the parent generation is pretty bad because of that, and then the current generation, the main character usually has like some of that. And it kind of brings us to an interesting idea where this is supposed to be a story about how generational trauma affects everybody involved and how that kind of is perpetually going on without stopping. But at the same time, if you look at it, like that trope means that the effects lessen each time that a generation passes. And so in a way, it kind of contradicts that original kind of message of generational trauma never dies, it doesn't go away. So I wouldn't say this is a problem with this play. I'm not exactly sure, and I'm not sure how true that is to real life, like if you look back historically, is there a generation that legitimately were bad parents? But I think if you are curious about what does the audience think about the grandmother generation based on the information that is given, that's probably where their minds go to, that generation is bad. And so whatever information you want to give about the mother's mother, I think that might be a good thing to keep in mind, that trope that we see often in these kinds of stories.
Oh, thanks. frozen, that each generation was bad, less bad, less bad, less bad. I just think that each generation or each layer adds, through the creativity of neurosis and just living in whatever environment we do, it just adds their own contribution. I have 3 older sisters. It's very creative in ways that we destroy each other, and it just keeps being passed on and on. So, it might be different than parents or grandparents who came from overseas and went through their stuff, but there's just new ways. We are ever inventing, I think, as a race, as a human people.
Hi, this is not an opinion, but a free association, because all our discussion reminded me of the novel Everything I Never Told You. So it's about the mother grew up in the 50s, and of course her destiny is to become a wife and a mother, but she rebelled. She wants to become a scientist against her parents, not against the whole time. And then of course, then in the end she failed, and she had to become a wife and a mother. So she projected her dream onto her daughter, one of her daughters, and she pushes the girl to study science and to take all these AP classes beyond her level, blah, blah, blah. But the daughter actually wanted to become a womanly woman, and the daughter cherishes the cookbook the mother discarded. So anything, that's the dynamic. It's very typical of, I think it's very typical at least of Asian parents and daughters, because I sacrifice for you, and therefore you need to work hard on the thing I chose for you to repay my sacrifice. So I think that's similar to what the other lady said about studying Shakespeare or something. It has something to do with sacrifice.
So something that kind of is building off of this is the relationships that the sisters have with their own families. And so with Genevieve having this failing marriage, I was struck wondering what Helen meant by you failed at being a mother. Look at what happened last time you tried, and I was like, what is that supposed to mean? If we could learn more about that, as well as how it changed with Regina and her twin daughters, and whether she is passing on any of that kind of trauma, or if she has that internal fear of this curse that she could possibly also pass down to them. Whereas with Cordelia, she is in a not in a heterosexual relationship, so we have no idea what her thoughts are on having her own children, and that's not touched at all. So I kind of wanted to know more about that then, if we're having this entire intergenerational trauma conversation.
Hi, so I was very interested in the character of the middle daughter, I think that's Regina, I think.
Is that because you're a middle daughter?
And I was kind of interested in the fact that, even though Cordelia is the one who left, I think Regina felt to me the most, I guess, removed out of the tension with the mother. I don't know, it kind of felt to me like in the contest for the mother's love, Regina had kind of taken herself out of the running as the favorite. And I feel like she kind of also had less tension with the mother. And I guess I wouldn't say that I would I guess suggest for her to have more tension, I guess, with the mother, but I guess I'd be curious as to what that might look like in a different version of this.
Yeah, so for that part, we were thinking that Regina is actually the least favorite, and she's actually her father's favorite in the whole family, and that's not really said in the text, because we were trying to focus on other things. And so I'm actually gonna work on a play version of this, which will give me more time to be able to explore other aspects of it. I mean, in my play version, there's an epilogue, and they do not kill the mother. Does that? Remy does not do it. So in the epilogue, they do not kill the mother. Because I find it kind of weird that the solution solution to Alzheimer's is suicide. Like that's a little complicated. Because the whole capacity thing, which is like, does the person even know what they want now? Will they know what they want in 5 minutes? Because when you talk to someone with Alzheimer's, that's really hard, you know.
I will add a question to the question I was asked about Regina, because selfishly, of course, I was interested in her, not because I was a little child, but because she was trying to be a writer. Being a writer myself. I mean, it seemed from what we have seen, heard, that she couldn't really fulfill her ambition to be a novelist because she had, a family of her own, right? And she had to look after it. But I also wonder whether there was some kind of influence from the mom, because the mom would be a scholar and therefore a writer in her own right, whether there was some kind of anxiety of influence at work as well.
Oh, definitely. I definitely felt that. We just wanted to add that little information just to flesh out Regina more. So like, if I were gonna write the full-length play version, I would definitely want to explore that. And I think it's a great idea. Because for me, Regina has abilities as a writer, but I think she's also holding herself back. And I think maybe this definitely has to do with the mother. Like, why do you feel? Because she always makes excuses, right? Like, no, I don't have time. I have kids and all that. I'm not gonna do that. But why not? And where does that insecurity come from? And I think maybe the mother is, probably the answer.
No, I mean, yeah.
Oh, did you have one more thing you want to say?
I think we do.
Yeah, so I know how most of this conversation has been surrounding the dynamics between the sisters and the mother. I'm also curious more about Genevieve's role, given that she has been the primary caretaker for her mom, and has been very apparent to the audience that Genevieve, she's jealous of Cordelia being, considered a favorite, even though she's put in so much effort and hard work into taking care of her mom. I'm curious if you would be able to explore more of Genevieve's thought process of when Cordelia tells her about her wedding, because there was a moment where Genevieve kind of just took a moment before she said, "Oh, I'll be there." I would like to see kind of somehow Genevieve's internal monologue maybe somehow expressed about her working through the complex feelings between her and Cordelia, and how she is able to kind of maybe set aside a little bit of her bitterness and embrace her sister's something good happening within the family, and also kind of in relation to that, I'd also like to see if in terms of characterizing the sisters outside of all of their personal difficulties with their own families, as well as their relationship with their mother, if they have any other kind of good things happening to them, just to kind of better humanize their overall being, because there are definitely hard times in life, right? But a lot of many people kind of still have some sort of hope or some way to cope with the challenges that they're facing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, so just want to share something with you. In one of the earlier drafts, Genevieve actually says no, she's not going to the wedding. She actually I'll think about it or something like that. And I don't know. I mean, I don't want to make it so Cordelia ends up getting a happy ending where it's hey, I gotta resolve my family trauma, or something like that. I just wasn't sure if that was the case. I mean, so we changed that to what it is today, but something that you said about seeing them in other contexts and fleshing them out, it was something also one of the actors said during the workshop, which is we'd love to see more of them outside of this family situation, because when you're in a really difficult situation, I mean, you're in flight or fight mode, so you're not always going to be the person that you are when you're talking to your friend or your coworker or something like that. So to be able to see that other side would definitely be interesting. I think something to think about for the play version was how can I build that in so we can see more sides of these people.
And
moment was when their mother was just like lost in the city, right? But I also wonder if a different way to see the climax would be the part where Cordelia finds out about the pills in the Fool. Like, what is your like perspective on that? Because I'm wondering, like, in terms of like the mother being lost, and the daughter's like frantically searching for her. In what way, like, in what way does that really change, you know, the dynamic between the sisters, like among the sisters, in regards to how they view like addressing their mother's condition?
Yeah, I mean, I think the climax, just in terms of volume climax, is the storm scene. In terms of the point of no return is sort of like the pill scene, right? Because that's sort of, where do we go from there? Because the climax of her running away is dramatic and it's loud, but it's not necessarily the point of no return because we still have a little bit ways to go, right? So that is an interesting thing to explore. And yeah, and that might be different between the opera and the actual play. So something to consider for myself in the future, yeah.
If I may very quickly build on what the previous opinion or question, and that's the point about the climax and also the resolution of the climax, isn't it? Because in a Shakespearean tragedy, of course, it's very bleak as well, but there is a sense of resolution, maybe even a sense of catharsis at the end of it. When Lear is so exhausted, you also do not want him to carry on, right? So in a sense, you're kind of like, yes, it's really time for you to go because you really need to be relieved from all your psychic, emotional, and physical pain. And so I wonder whether, are you aiming at catharsis at all at the end, or do you really want to leave the audience, right, with this just not knowing what the sisters will decide?
Yeah, I think for the opera, we decided that it would be an ambiguous ending, and then for framing the play, there is an epilogue, and they do not kill the mother. So what happens in the epilogue is that actually it's Cordelia, and this is 1 year later, and she's actually pregnant, and then she has this whole monologue. And at first it sounds like a eulogy, but then you find out that it's not. And Helen has been moved into assisted living, and she's actually doing a lot better in assisted living because part of not necessarily being surrounded by your family all the time is that sometimes when you are in front of strangers, sometimes you behave better. Sometimes we behave better in front of people that we don't know and love. Yeah.
I have a question regarding the euthanasia drugs. I'm not familiar with how that works, but it's in my head as I'm listening to it. It sounds like they're pills or a pill, but so in my head, what I was thinking was because it seems like the mother she does have some times of lucidity. So, and if she's holding on to these drugs in this doll, I was like, well, then is she taking these drugs? Because maybe it might take some time. Maybe is she taking these drugs throughout? Because that was my reasoning for her to ask for the doll during that time. So, that. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be because I don't know how euthanasia drugs work. But it seems like it was the mother's choice, to want to not go through all that Alzheimer's stuff, right? So because at the end when she's constantly asking, but because I wasn't clear about what how euthanasia drugs work, I just wanted to ask that question because yeah.
Yeah, usually there are different kinds. Some of them are pills. You can take them. They're illegal in New York. They're not illegal in New Jersey. So if you can sign up for them if you want. But there are also a couple of illnesses that sort of preclude you from doing that. And one of them is Alzheimer's because the thing is that does the person have capacity or not? And when do they decide this? So there's some types of illnesses where, let's say you have cancer or something like that, you can sign, a bunch of papers that say like, I know this, I'm going to do this. Sign up the drugs, the doctor prescribes it, you take the pills at home, usually. That's usually what happens. I guess in this case, it's sort of like the ambiguous thing, because once you have Alzheimer's in the mix, it's like, when does she know it? Does she know it? Does she remember it? That she got this thing in the first place? And that's why she's always looking for it, and she can't remember what she is looking for. She knows she's looking for something. So yeah, and that's the complexity I think when it's like dementia, because it's like, what do you remember? When do you remember? Do you have capacity now? Did you know it then? And that's the big question mark for this piece, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Marcus. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much, Marcus, for actually giving us a peek into your writing process. I think you've been so generous in sharing this work in progress with everyone. And everyone, thank you so much for participating in the process so beautifully. You did all the steps right, didn't you, Cordelia? So thank you. And of course, all right, for tonight's performance, all right, maybe I can give a round of applause to our actresses. Karen Kawamoto, Sonia Nam, Kendrin Wu, and Cindy Lai. Incredible. I think we're all now so excited actually to see this piece come to fruition and to watch this chamber opera. Now, before you go, I would just want to wrap up, not just this event, but also the whole festival, because after all, this is the whole event. By thanking all of you here for joining us for this event, and many of you came back, event after event. You were here even also yesterday for the first day of the festival. It's such a joy to be with you, to celebrate with you, and be in conversation with these incredible artists. We hope that the day has, the whole festival has brought you much joy and excitement about art and also about community. Because we are in community, we also want to remember the atrocities committed against the Palestinian people in Gaza. And we ask that you consider making a donation right now to the municipality of Gaza, which is a non-governmental and non-profit organization that is working very hard to restore basic services to the people. Roads, sanitation, water. They have been doing incredible work, and if you wish to make a donation, you can go right back to the QR code just next to the food, next to the books, to actually make your donation. We are very grateful to be able to make this festival free, so if you can join us in supporting Gaza in this way, we would deeply, deeply appreciate it. So, thank you everyone for staying for the closing event. We hope you had a good time, as much as we did. Look up Singapore Unbound, the organization organizing this festival. Join our mailing list for exciting news of books and events. Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.